And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics, and now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And man, oh man, have we got a great show for you today. You know what? We were back live yesterday for the first time in a couple of weeks, and it was kind of testy, actually. I was losing my voice about a third of the way through the show. Hopefully we'll get to keep it here today. But we've got an exciting show for you today. You know, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS Loses, and we're going to be continuing our segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. And then also today, we're going to have our own Sean LaFave. He'll be here. We'll be talking about health care and probably Thanksgiving and God only knows what else we'll be talking about. But before we do that, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently, 66 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's beautiful, a little bit chilly. I guess people back east think it's a lot more chilly than that, but it's going to go down to about 42 degrees. And so it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful afternoon with you. So hope you stick in there with us. But right now, I want to talk to you about what's in the news. We've encapsulated it. We'll get a little more in-depth after this. We'll talk about the 10 things that you need to know today. This is your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and most likely tomorrow, too. God only knows what's after that. But right up at the top is terrorism suspected in a car and knife attack at Ohio State. Authorities say a Somali-born Ohio State University student plowed his car into pedestrians and began stabbing people with a butcher knife before being shot to death by a policeman. And which potential Trump cabinet pick is linked to Pentagon investigation? Well, the Associated Press confirms a leaks investigation that could complicate former CIA Director David Petraeus' prospects of obtaining a cabinet post. And where Trump was finally declared a winner? Well, officials certify that Trump won Michigan by 10,704 votes, claiming all of its 16 electoral votes. But there's more wrangling to come on the final vote count. And when Wisconsin could begin the recount. You know, the process could start Thursday after Green Party nominee Jill Stein alleged irregularities and raised the possibility of electronic voting machines being hacked. And how Castro transformed Cuba. You know, he remade an entire country in his image, transforming everything from its food to the way neighbors interact, and left a legacy that seems certain to survive in some form long after his death. And why some African Americans admire Fidel Castro. The late Cuban leader ended segregation there when it still reigned in the United States. And what touched off a wave of panic in Aleppo? Well, that's not a dog food. I can guarantee you that. That's what Gary Johnson thought it was. In any event, Syrian government forces captured more than a third of the opposition-held eastern Aleppo as rebel defenses collapsed and allowed the most significant government gains yet. Well, government orders could have little effect on the pipeline protest camp. North Dakota's governor issued a mandatory evacuation for the camp, but didn't specify any action to be taken against the protesters who don't comply. Well, Cyber Monday loses steam. Millions still check out online deals and check off items from their gift list, but a one-day frenzy appears to be going the way of the dial-up modem. Yeah, gone forever. And then finally, how to have a blue Christmas? Well, if Christmas gets you down, singers Amy Grant and Casey Musgraves have sad songs that acknowledge that the holiday isn't happy for everyone. Yeah, that's a fact. Well, you know what? Let's see if we can't do a little bit more in-depth news for you. Carry things a little more complete for you. Here's the first off the top, though. Trump taps Price to lead HHS and plans a second meeting with Romney. President-elect Donald Trump made two cabinet selections today, choosing fierce Obama critic Georgia Representative Tom Price to lead the Department of Health and Human Services, and Elaine Chao, who served in the cabinet of George W. Bush to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. Trump announced his choice of Price, while the selection of Chow, the wife of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, was confirmed by a person with knowledge of the decision but not authorized to speak publicly. Price is exceptionally qualified to lead an effort to repeal and replace President Barack Obama's health care law. Trump said in a statement the president-elect's transition team did not immediately respond to questions about the congressman's past commitment to transform Medicare into a voucher-like system, a position at odds with Trump's repeated campaign promises not to cut the popular health care program that serves an estimated 57 million people. Now, let's hope he doesn't fool around with it. The main reason is my wife and I are on Medicare, and we don't want to see it go down the tubes, and that's for sure. Well, here's the latest for you. Stein delivers $3.5 million for Wisconsin recount. The latest on the President-elect Donald Trump and his administration. Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein has delivered $3.5 million to the state of Wisconsin to guarantee a recount of the presidential vote there. Stein faced a 4:30 p.m. Central Time deadline to deliver the money, so a recount could start on Thursday. The Wisconsin Elections Commission says it got a wire transfer shortly before Tuesday's deadline. Stein says she worries that the results were hacked and says a recount is the only way to know for sure. Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton by about 22,000 votes in Wisconsin, and Stein was far behind. Stein was in court today, or this afternoon, seeking to force the Wisconsin recount to be done by hand. She is also pursuing recounts in Michigan and Pennsylvania. Those people that are in the know say that there probably won't be a 300-vote differential one way or the other. It could go Trump's way, for that matter, as far as anything else. So, we'll see what happens with it. And you know what? Trump taps Obamacare foe champion of privatizing Medicare. Reaching deep into conservative territory, President-elect Donald Trump chose Georgia Representative Tom Price to oversee the nation's healthcare system today, picking a fierce Obamacare critic who also has championed efforts to privatize Medicare. Trump selected another veteran Republican, Elaine Chao, to lead the Department of Transportation. Now, both have long ties to Washington. Price picked to lead the Department of Health and Human Services after more than a decade in Congress helped craft House Speaker Paul Ryan's plan to privatize Medicare, a position Trump opposed in the campaign. Chao, who was the first Asian American woman to serve in a president's cabinet, is married to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Now you know there's going to be a lot going on here. I wonder if that puts her at odds with McConnell, because you know what? He doesn't necessarily agree with that. In any event, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about Trump suggests consequences for any flag burners. I'll tell you all about that, but I have these brief messages. Do not go away. We've got a lot of exciting show for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? We're talking news. Let's get right to it. As I told you, we're going to talk about Trump, and he's suggesting consequences for any flag burners. President-elect Donald Trump said today that anyone who burns an American flag should face unspecified consequences, such as jail or a loss of citizenship. But the Supreme Court has held that flag burning is a form of speech protected by the First Amendment. And the Constitution forbids the government's removal of citizenship for a natural-born American. Top congressional Republicans quickly distanced themselves from Trump's views. Trump's words expressed on Twitter early Tuesday morning put him at odds with the late Justice Antonin Scalia, who was in the majority in the 1989 decision that protected flag burning. Trump has called Scalia, who died in February, a great judge, and said that he would appoint someone to fill Scalia's seat who was much like the conservative legal icon. Nobody should be allowed to burn the American flag. If they do, there must be consequences, perhaps loss of citizenship or a year in jail, Trump said. You know, I've got to tell you, I understand the freedoms that we have. I abhor the fact that people would desecrate our flag. But you know what? We've got to honor the rights and the privileges that we get through the Constitution. I, too, would like to just pummel people that I see desecrating our flag. But you know what? It's a thin line. It just seems to me that's the wrong thing, but I think he's going too far when he talks about loss of citizenship and going to jail. I just don't think that that's the right way to go. You know, you gotta want to defend someone's right to free speech, even when you don't agree with what it is that they're saying. You know, most of the time they're not trying to desecrate the flag. They're trying to protest something that's going on in government. So let's just keep the perspective in place here. And you know what? Some voters are stung by the election result and stirred to new action. 3 weeks out from a presidential election result that left them deeply dejected, many liberals now say that they've been roused to action in new ways, from making donations and volunteering to considering political runs themselves. Around the country, even as protests have waned, Democrats say that the sting of loss has left an impact unlike any past race, stirring previously passive citizens to push beyond their initial tears and angry Facebook posts following Donald Trump's win. Though post-election fervor has spurred conservatives to action as well, the gut punch of a presidential loss has particularly certainly energized those on the left. Brad Garr, a 56-year-old from Jupiter, Florida, made a flurry of movies he saw as constructive responses. He donated to Planned Parenthood and upped his monthly gift to Bernie Sanders' organization. He joined the American Civil Liberties Union and began volunteering at an organization that helps undocumented immigrants. He even invited a couple who voted for Trump to join him and his husband at their home for drinks, appetizers, and some airing of electoral differences, which was mostly cordial all around. Well, you know what? There's going to be a lot of that going on, but you know what? It is what it is. Like him, don't like him. Unfortunately, that is what's going on, and that's the way it's going to be. He's going to be our president for the next 4 years, unless he quits. That's just the way that it's going to be, and you might as well just figure that that's the next 4 years. That's kind of what I'm thinking anyhow. How about this? Brazilian soccer team's plane crashes in Colombia. 75 people are confirmed dead. A chartered plane carrying a Brazilian soccer team to the biggest match in its history crashed into a Colombian hillside and broke into pieces, killing 75 people and leaving 6 survivors, officials said just today. The British Aerospace 146 short-haul plane operated by a charter airline with roots in Venezuela declared an emergency and lost radar contact just before 10 p.m. on Monday because of an electrical failure, according to Colombia's aviation agency. The aircraft, which has departed from Santa Cruz, Bolivia, was carrying the Chapecoense soccer team from southern Brazil for Wednesday's first leg of a 2-game Copa Sudamericana final against Atlético Nacional of Medellin. What was supposed to be a celebration has turned into a tragedy, Medellin Mayor Federico Gutierrez said from the Search and Rescue Command Center. What a horrible thing to have happened. But it was an accident, unlike the thing that went on at Ohio State, right? Just a sad thing. The way it goes. Well, you know what? Let's talk about Ohio State attacker. He was stewing over the treatment of Muslims, is what they're saying. The Somali-born student who carried out the car and knife attack at Ohio State University stewed over the treatment of Muslims while apparently staying under the radar of federal law enforcement, underscoring the difficulty authorities face in identifying and stopping lone wolves bent on violence. Abdul Razak Ali Artan was not known to FBI counterterrorism authorities before Monday's rampage, which ended with Artan shot to death by police and 11 people injured, a law enforcement official told the Associated Press. That's in contrast to several other recent attacks, including those in New York City, Orlando, Florida, and Garland, Texas, in which those blamed for the bloodshed had previously come to the attention of federal agents. Wow, law enforcement officials have not identified a motive for the Ohio State violence, but have suggested terrorism is a possibility. FBI agents continued to search Artan's apartment for clues. What a sad thing. Sad epitaph. Anyway, we're going to take one more short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about something a little more satisfying for you. We're going to talk about the IRS Loses. And the first case here is a missed audit deadline. I'm going to tell you all about that right after we return, so don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 65 degrees, gone down 1 degree here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 42 degrees. It's going to be cold, but it is sunny out there. I can give you that. You know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 59 degrees and it's overcast. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 55 degrees and mostly cloudy. You know what? Let's talk about something that's going to brighten up your day. We're going to talk about the IRS Loses. And the first case up is a missed audit deadline. You know, a company declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy but continued operating. It then filed a later year return making a Section 505B request under the bankruptcy code. Now, this required the IRS to select the return for audit within 60 days or accepted as being accurate. Now, instead, after the 60 days had passed, the IRS said that $7 million more was due on it. The IRS says that the 505B request was invalid because published IRS rules require it be sent to the IRS district director, not to be filed with the return. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS's argument was absurd as it had earlier abolished the position of district director. So filing the request with the return was the correct action, and the tax is lifted. Shame on the IRS. They just keep trying, don't they? Sure they do. How about this? Here's a case the IRS conceded. Now, you've heard me say it many, many times. The IRS only concedes a case when they're pretty doggone sure they can't prevail in court. Now, here's this case. A bank deposits need not be reported as cash payments. Now, it sounds a little strange, but here's the story. Businesses are required to report all cash payments larger than $10,000 to the IRS on Form 8300. That's report of cash payments over $10,000 received in a trade or business. So here's a recent case. A car dealer sold cars using independent contractor salespeople. After the sale was made, the salesperson would deposit the sales proceeds in the dealer's bank account. Well, the IRS's legal opinion was this. The receipt of a bank deposit is not a receipt of cash, since the dealer never literally received cash in hand. The reporting requirement did not apply. They would have lost that in a heartbeat. Anyway, how about this one? The IRS loses. They cannot sue to collect tax that's already subject to a refund suit. Here's the case. A company failed to remit payroll taxes, and the IRS imposed personal liability for these taxes on its owners. Now, they paid a portion of the tax and then properly sued for a refund, contesting their liability, filing their suit in Kentucky, where they actually lived. Now, the IRS then filed a separate suit in Louisiana, where the company actually operated, to enforce collection of the assessed tax. The owners protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. When a tax liability is being contested in a refund suit in one court, the IRS cannot file a collection action for the same tax in another court. The Louisiana suit is dismissed. And that's exactly what you'd expect, right? Common sense. There's no such thing as common sense when you're talking about the IRS. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things. That's where we're at right now with the segment we call Inside the IRS. Just a little bit like The Twilight Zone. Well, you know what? These are not exactly tax court cases. Matter of fact, they're not tax court cases at all. But this is information that you can use when you're actually doing things and you want to know what the IRS's position is going to be. You can kind of get an advance hit on it, knowing what's going on and how they're responding to things. In this particular case, what to do if the IRS sends you a check to which you are not entitled. You ever think about it? You think it's sort of like getting a gift, right? Well, guess again. Based on the most recent study conducted by the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, they call that TIGTA, the IRS issues millions of dollars of incorrect refunds checks each and every year. Now, many times, the IRS is going to credit one person's account with someone else's money or issue a duplicate refund to the same person. Do not keep the money if the IRS mistakenly sends you a check or electronically sends money to your account. Eventually, the IRS is going to realize that it made an error and ask for the money back. With interest, by the way. So the better approach, if you receive money from the IRS and suspect that it was sent mistakenly, or that you don't understand why the IRS gave it to you, send it back with a letter that requesting the IRS to confirm that the payment is accurate. If the IRS sends a new check with an explanation, you can then cash that check unless you know that the IRS still has not corrected a mistake. Well, once you've gone that route, that's their problem. How about this? If it sounds too good to be true, you know what? Promoters of tax schemes continue to make compelling arguments to gullible individuals and income that they earn is not subject to U.S. income tax based on Internal Revenue Code Section 861. Now, under the promoters' theory of this section of the code, U.S. citizens are subject to income tax only from foreign-based activities. Now, this position has been shown to be without merit, false, and a misapplication of the law and the regulations. So you remember fallen star actor Wesley Snipes, who's been was indicted and convicted of tax evasion because he submitted amended tax returns. He's claiming refunds of millions of dollars based on the Section 861 argument. The indictment also alleged that Snipes did not listen to his tax advisor, who advised against participating in the schemes. Well, Snipes, who was arrested on December the 11th, 2006, pleaded not guilty, was released on a $1 million bond, returned to Namibia, where he was filming a movie. At a news conference, one of the lawyer said Mr. Snipes was a victim of his tax advisors. It's tax season. Don't be duped. Just know that Wesley Snipes went to prison for tax evasion, tax fraud. You know what? That's just the way those things are going to go. Just know that you aren't going to get away with those kind of things, and it's never going to happen. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. You don't want to miss it. He and I are going to be talking about God only knows what for the next hour. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's still 65 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 42 degrees. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, it's 28 degrees and it's clear. But I want you to know that's cold, folks. And in Rome, Italy, it's 37 degrees and it is clear. But I'll tell you, somebody that is just, he's warm, if only in his heart and his soul. It's our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, welcome back from Thanksgiving.
Robert, it's good to be back. It feels like It's been a coon's age at least since we talked.
You know what? I took advantage of it. I took a couple of weeks off, had a great time with my family. We went to San Diego, went to the Hotel Del Coronado for Thanksgiving dinner, and it was just phenomenal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just phenomenal.
Beautiful.
Yeah. How about you? What'd you do for Thanksgiving?
Well, I actually had 2 Thanksgivings, and
2. Did you gain 30 pounds?
I gained at least 30. Actually, I don't feel like I gained any weight. It's funny, when I spent so much time deep frying turkeys that I didn't have enough time to eat. But I don't actually go crazy on Thanksgiving. I did kind of a little bit this Thanksgiving, but yeah, we went to a friend of mine. First of all, my son and I drove from Newport out to Wichita, Kansas last week. And
are you in Wichita?
Yeah, I'm back in Wichita now. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I thought you were going to stop by here for a free lunch.
Well, I was going to, but we left. We got a late start, and we left at I don't know. It was like mid-afternoon or something like that on a Tuesday, and so I wanted to get there Wednesday night. And so we drove through and just slept, in the passenger seat and traded off driving, and we drove straight through to Wichita. It took us, I think it was, because we stopped a few times, and I think it took us about 26 hours or something.
Holy
like that.
Mackerel! So are you there? Are you there to stay for a while, or are you going to be coming back with your son?
Yeah, I'll be here. I'm not sure exactly how long this time. Definitely it'll be extended, but not. I don't know. There'll be months, or if it'll be. I really don't know how long. But I know February I'll be back in California because I've got an event out there that I need to do, and I figure while I'm out there, I'll probably spend an extra week. Just enjoying. It'll be in February, so. February is a good time to get out of Kansas because it's just never pleasant weather in Kansas. So I'll probably leave a little early and spend some time out there. But yeah, so I'm here. I went to my best friend out here is a dentist, and he's got this beautiful. He lives at this. He lives actually at an airport. And he's got a hangar, and in the back of his hangar is they call them condos. They build these condos in the back of their hangar, and it's actually a 5,500 square foot condo. It's all very modern. It's beautiful. I mean, it's got 5 bedrooms, 4 fireplaces. I mean, to call it a condo is a bit of an understatement. But he had a huge spread of food that he put out for a bunch of his friends and family, and that was on Thanksgiving Day. And I fried a turkey out there. I don't know if you've ever had deep fried turkey.
You know what?
Before.
I never have. I mean, I eat a lot of turkey. I can give you that. I've even been referred to as a turkey from time to time, but I've never fried a turkey. Can you tell me the differences between a fried turkey and a roasted turkey?
Well, yeah. First of all, when you fry a turkey, you don't use any stuffing at all, and it needs to be smaller. Really, the max that you want it to be is absolute max is 10 pounds. I like them to be about 8 pounds. An 8-pound turkey cooks up really well because if it gets like I actually tried to cook a 12-pound turkey, and by the time that the legs and everything else was done, the breasts weren't quite done in the middle, so I had to take it out, cut the legs off and the wings off, and then put it back in and just cook the breasts for another 5 minutes or so, so I didn't ruin the rest of it. But it cooks a lot faster. You don't like I said, you don't put any stuffing or anything in it. You literally take the whole turkey and you immerse it in boiling oil. Most people use peanut oil. You can buy peanut oil like in a 5-gallon jug for like $20 or something like that. It's not very expensive, and you get it at about 300. They say to do about 350. I like it somewhere between 300 to 325 degrees. Mm-hmm. And you just literally slowly lower the turkey down in there, because when you first put it in there, it's so violent. You dry the turkey off. You want to make sure it's dry, not wet, because water and hot oil don't mix. Mm-hmm. And so you even with it dry, the oil gets real bubbly, boiling, violent. So you got to slowly, if you stick the whole thing in there at one time, you'll literally have oil just spewing all over the place. And people, you can go on YouTube and watch people burn down their garages trying to do this. It's hard to do. I tried to do one.
Well, now you do this. You do this outside, not inside, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to do it outside. I've done it enough that I trust myself to do it inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when it's outside, because it's cold out here and the wind is blowing. If I was in California, it wouldn't be a problem. But out here, it was kind of cold outside and the wind was blowing and cold air blowing across 5 gallons of oil. You're just never going to get it up to 300 degrees.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get it above 200 actually. So I had to bring it inside. But I've done it enough that I know what I'm doing. I trust myself not to start a fire. It's really easy though to start a fire with these.
So Sean, you say you start a fire. Are you actually using live wood, live embers, or is it electric, or is it?
Yeah, it's a huge flame underneath this. This pot is I think it's a 30-liter pot or something like that. I can't remember. It'll hold. I guess to put it in more simple terms, it'll hold about 7 gallons or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere between 7 and 8 gallons. So you put 5 gallons or so of oil in there, and then the turkey on top of it, and then you get this huge flame. It's a propane tank that you hook up to a hose, and then there's a burner underneath the big pot you're boiling the turkey in, and you just have a huge flame going the entire time. So what happens is people try to put the turkey in too fast, or maybe it's wet, or it's maybe partly frozen,
mm-hmm.
and the cold and the wet react with the hot oil, and oil it almost explodes. And the oil shoots up and it pours all over the sides. And of course, now you've got the oil catches on fire and it spills all over the floor. And now you've got an oil fire all over your garage floor.
Gotcha.
And so people burn their garages down or their patios down trying to do this. But as long as you're careful, it's really, it's a very safe method to do it.
So did you say that when you use this method, you do not put spices on the turkey?
No, the only thing that I do, I don't do anything to the outside. In fact, you want the outside to be completely dry.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is they actually make these big injector needles.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do, and people use all kinds of different, some people use Italian dressing, some people make some sort of herbal concoctions and all kinds of different marinades that they might use. You can do teriyaki, you can do all kinds of stuff. But what I do is I take a full block of butter, so it'd be like 4 sticks of butter, and I
mm-hmm.
melt it down and I put a whole head of garlic in there, and I chop up the garlic, and I kind of slow, almost boil the garlic in the butter,
mm-hmm.
and let the butter take on all of the garlic flavor, and then I strain the butter out. So I get rid of all the chunks, and you take this needle and you suck up all that garlic flavored butter, and I just inject it into the meat all throughout the turkey, the legs and the breast and everything, and so it kind of marinates from the inside, and while you're cooking it, all that flavor absorbs into the meat, and oh my gosh, it's fantastic. And again, it takes about 3 minutes per pound. So if you have an 8-pound turkey, you're done in 24-25 minutes.
Wow.
So unlike a turkey you got to bake for, I don't even know what it takes for those big ones, like 3 hours.
3.5. Yeah, 3.5 hours. Depends on how big a turkey you're getting. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot less cooking time, but the thing is, you can't just stick it in the oven and walk away either. You got to stand there and you got to watch it the entire time, because again, it can, especially if the oil level's kind of high, it'll kind of bubble up. And
especially if you're inside of a building, right?
Right, especially if you're inside. Like I was inside of a garage. First time I was inside of a hangar, and then the second time I was inside of a garage. I just couldn't do it outside because the wind was blowing too much. It was too cold. Like the oil wouldn't get hot enough. But it's really a fun way to cook a turkey. It's quick, and when you're done, the skin is nice and crispy on the outside. It's almost like, I'm sure you've had Peking duck. You know how the skin is real crispy.
Uh-huh.
So it's got that crispy skin. Not as good, not as delicious as Peking duck, but still a yummy skin on it. And then the meat inside is juicy and tender and flavorful. I mean, I've never had a baked or roasted turkey, whatever you want to call it, that was as delicious as a deep fried turkey.
So you said you did 2 of them. So does that mean you did one, and then while you're carving that one, the other one's cooking? By the time you're done carving it and putting it out, then the next one's ready, right?
I did one on Thursday, and then we had
different days
with another Thanksgiving family and friends get together on Sunday as well. So I got to have 2 full-blown Thanksgiving dinners. It was fun.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. So now, a lot of people in both events?
Yeah. There was probably about 15 or somewhere between 15 to 20 at each one.
Oh, that's wow.
So it was a good crowd. And it was just, I love that. I'm not a big fan of the, it's funny because people say, "Oh, you're always such a good mood, Sean." Of course, those are the people who don't know me really, really intimately, because I do have my grumpy moments. But
you're kidding! I've never seen you grumpy. Has Sally ever seen you grumpy? Were you grumpy when you got back to Wichita?
Not when I got here. No, I was one of the other little dwarfs. I was the sleepy one when I got here. I was probably a little dopey too. I was probably sleepy and dopey. The grumpy didn't come till later.
Well,
someone asked me the other day. So I think you maybe even said this one. Do you ever wake up grumpy? I'm like, no. Usually I just let her sleep. But I learned that from you.
I actually hadn't heard that. So listen, so you didn't overdo it. You told me how great the turkey was, but there had to be a lot of trimmings. I mean, there had to be mashed potatoes and gravy and salads and all kinds of stuff. You just sort of shied away from all of that?
No, I have my, I eat stuff, but, it's really funny. When it comes to Thanksgiving, I really am pretty simple. As long as I get turkey and mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce, and I like the cranberry sauce that comes from the can, and I don't want the chunky stuff. I want it like jelly,
Yeah.
And that's pretty much anything else on top of that is all just kind of like an added bonus. But I got to have those three, and even if that's all I had, I'd be happy. At my buddy Craig's place, his girl Holly, she made this unbelievable. Everybody makes green bean salad on Thanksgiving, not everybody, but it's one of the more popular dishes.
Yeah.
And she made one that was made from scratch, and oh man, it was hands down the best green bean salad I've ever had, ever. Period. Like no close second. I mean, it was unbelievable. So that was kind of nice to have stuff like that. That you get these new things you get to try every now and then. Of course, I made my mashed potatoes. I use regular potatoes, but I also use I'll boil up some cauliflower and some onions and some garlic.
Oh, great idea.
And I'll put that in the food processor to kind of puree it a little bit. And then I'll mix it in with the potatoes that I just mashed by hand. And oh man! And then I put this one. It was a pretty big batch of mashed potatoes, but I put 5. I don't even use cream. I just use butter until it's the right consistency. I used 5 sticks of butter. Yeah. And
yes, sir.
Like,
yes, sir.
Like,
we're talking about that.
You're eating butter.
We're talking about that healthy diet again, right?
Yeah. Well, butter's good for you. All that good
I was going to say, I like the leftovers the next day just as much as I do Thanksgiving Day. Make some open face, turkey sandwiches, hot turkey sandwiches, and mashed potatoes and gravy and stuff. But the truth is, the next day your leftovers was a brand new fresh turkey.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like you. I love the leftovers too. I'm one of these people that I can eat the same thing for weeks on end and not ever get tired of it. So,
yeah, you're like I am. Yeah, you're like I am. I love leftovers. You know what? I was wondering, you're talking about getting an 8-pound turkey. Maureen usually gets about a 30-pound turkey. How many people does an 8-pound turkey feed?
Well,
obviously about 20, right? It must be about...
No, actually, they weren't real big. Actually, this for the first one, my turkey was one of 3 turkeys that they had. They had a roasted one that they did in the oven, and then they had a smoked turkey, and then the deep fried turkey. And then at the second one, it was actually a 12-pound turkey. And not everybody was really big into turkey there. I guess this family in particular, they like more of the casseroles and stuff. And so there was actually plenty of turkey left over, even though there was 15 or more people there.
So was it like a potluck where you were actually deep frying your turkey? Somebody else had smoked theirs and somebody else had roasted theirs. Is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, the Craig smoked one, and then he had his girlfriend there, and she she did the roasted one, and then I did the deep fried one. So, but it really actually wasn't really even so much a pot. Like, I just did it because he had never had one. I'm like, man, you gotta try these because they're so amazing.
Well, it sounds like fun. It becomes a taster's plate, right? You get this same turkey that's been prepared 3 different ways. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, and it is. It's a lot of fun that way, because you get to, taste the subtle differences in, how the different preparation, changes the flavor of the meats, and it's just a lot of fun. I like Thanksgiving in general because of, it's a little bit more laid back. You get to try all these different foods, and I love to eat, and so it's kind of like I have friends that are in this whole natural healthcare world with me, and they post on Facebook, or they talk about how they're making this organic thing, and this is paleo Thanksgiving, and I'm like, screw that. This is like one day a year I'm eating full on stuff that I tell people for a living not to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not going to kill me. It's not going to kill me to eat a can of cranberry sauce. I know it's got.
Well, it's not like
I didn't even look at the label. It probably has high fructose corn syrup in it, but I don't care.
You know what? It's not like you're doing it 365 days a year.
Right, exactly. And one day a year to just go hog wild and eat something that's crazy.
Yeah.
Have a great time. My body will get rid of it in a couple of days. I'm not too worried about it. So yeah, I don't really get all ate up over making sure that I get a turkey that's organic and all that. And I'm like, it's one day of the year that I give myself permission to eat whatever I feel like eating.
Yeah, my problem is I overeat on those kind of holidays. On Thanksgiving, on Christmas, and on New Year's, I overeat. When I'm done eating, my stomach is saying, "You dumb fool! What did you do?" But I enjoyed every bite of it. I got to tell you, but I wind up overeating on those holidays.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely eat more than normal, but I don't know. I've just learned it. Like, I don't get to the point where I just want to go roll up in a ball and sleep for an hour.
Well, let me describe to you what we did for Thanksgiving. I told you we went to the Hotel Del, and the Hotel Del puts on this Thanksgiving buffet. It's almost like have you ever been to their Sunday buffets that the Hotel Del had?
Which hotel?
Hotel Del Coronado.
Oh, I've not heard of their Sunday buffet now.
Anyway, they have a big Sunday buffet every Sunday. It's famous, very, very nice. In Thanksgiving, they do one that's it's geared to Thanksgiving. So on Thanksgiving, went in there, and it's very pricey, but just a great time. So we had a 5:30 reservation. Let's see, I had turkey, but I love dark meat, so I had mostly dark meat, and then I had some white meat because I just had to be able to taste the difference. And I had some stuffing, and I also had some peel and eat shrimp. I also had some crab legs. I also went for the prime rib. I got some prime rib, and then they had some filet of sole, so I had to try that. I had some filet of sole, and then I had some bread pudding. I love bread pudding, and then I saw that they had these jelly beans, and so I got this empty bowl, and I just filled it with those doggone jelly beans, because I knew that after dinner we had an 8 o'clock or 8:30 reservation on the beach for a fire ring and s'mores, right? And so I figured Jelly Bellies, since I was working so hard at it at dinner to get one, that would be the perfect thing for dinner. So that's how I handled it. And like I said, I overate and I overdrank. I mean, I didn't get tipsy or anything. I just, there was, let's see, 2, 4, there was 6 of us, and we had 2 bottles of wine. So that's not so bad.
That sounds like heaven.
Yeah, except 2 of the 6 couldn't drink any wine because Joey is 13 and Johnny is 8, and then Tiffany doesn't drink alcohol, so that left 3 of us. And Marlene only drinks white wine, and she only had 1 glass, so that left 2 of us, and we were pretty happy with a bottle of red and sharing a half a bottle of white.
Man, I need to come have Thanksgiving with you next time.
Yes, sir. And then we had a cocktail to start that thing off, But so it was pretty terrific. And then, of course, we ate so much, and I was complaining, as I had mentioned to you before. We had the s'mores down at night with the fire ring and all this stuff going on. Next morning, we get up about had to be about 9:30 or so, and we all went down for breakfast. Where we found the room for breakfast, I can't even begin to tell you.
Yeah, I know, right? Boy. Yeah, actually, it sounded like the first meal you talked about sounded like you described 4 days worth of eating.
Absolutely. I had at least 4 days worth of eating, but I can tell you after breakfast, I didn't have another meal until Sunday.
I can imagine.
I mean, I want to tell you, I was just, And then when I got on the scale, I said to myself, that was the dumbest thing you have ever done. But wasn't it terrific?
I went when my parents were living in Wichita. We went out to, there's a restaurant out here called Yaya's, and it's one of the nicer restaurants here in Wichita. And they did a Thanksgiving spread, and man, it was fantastic. I actually really enjoyed doing that. And they had kind of what you described. It wasn't quite as nice as the one you described at the Hotel Del Coronado, but they had the prime rib, and they had different fish, and I don't think they had crab legs though, but they just had a huge spread, and it was definitely very easy to overeat. But boy, it was absolutely fantastic.
Well, they put out all these things. They put out all these things. Not only do they look good and taste good, but they're the best. I mean, you've got oysters on a half shell, and you've got shrimp that's already been peeled for you. All you got to do is eat the doggone thing. They got crab that's already been cracked for you, just to lift the crab out of the legs, right? And it's just, holy mackerel, God Almighty! They do everything for you but consume it. Are you?
Yeah. Well, that's all high quality stuff that you're talking about. That's the expensive stuff on the menu. Yeah. Those are all things that.
Anyway, just thinking about this is giving me indigestion. I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, we can continue talking about your magnificent meal, or we can get into anything you want to talk about. How's that sound?
That sounds great. You sent me an article about Thanksgiving, and I wanted to talk about that because I think it's just absolutely wonderful. But about a chance meeting between two people. So we'll talk about that when we come back.
Sounds great. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 65 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? If you're in Torrance, California, I want you to know that it is 62 degrees and it is clear. And if you are really, really lucky, like my good buddy Sean LaFave, you're in Wichita, Kansas, where it's 47 degrees and partly cloudy. But I'm guessing that it's a very pleasant evening, Sean, isn't it? Sean.
It's about as pleasant as it gets. Like I said, that's why I'm going to plan on getting out of here by February. It's so funny. I like it kind of cold, and so I've got my scrubs on. I like wearing when I come into my office here in Wichita. I end up usually wearing my scrubs because they're so comfortable. But I've got my scrubs and my sandals on, and so it's got to get pretty cold before I. Did
I ever tell you why Scotsmen wear kilts?
No, you never told me that.
I never did.
I have a really good story about that.
It's so that the sheep don't hear the zippers.
Because what?
They wear kilts so that the sheep can't hear the zippers.
So the sheep can't hear. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
That's terrible.
Yes, it is.
Funny.
Well, well, you know what? Yeah. So, so you can go ahead and tell your story if it's any cleaner.
Yeah, you sent me a story, and I had heard, obviously, before Thanksgiving, I kind of got on social media and everything else, and it made mainstream news and everything else about this young man. He's a young black man. I think he's 17 years old, and he gets a text and said, "Hey, Thanksgiving is at my house at whatever 1:00 or whatever it was." Thursday, blah, blah, blah. And he says he doesn't recognize the number, but he assumes that maybe his grandma. First he says, "Who's this?" And she says, "Well, this is your grandma." And so he's thinking, well, maybe grandma got a new phone, right? and so he just was kind of like concerned. And so he said, "Well, hey, grandma, you know what? I don't have your phone number, so I need a picture of you to put in my contacts. So I have a contact photo of you to save in my phone. Send me a picture." And so this woman sends him a picture, and it's this white woman, and he takes a selfie and sends it back to her and says, "Are you sure I'm your grandson?" and so there was a little bit of obviously a miscommunication there, but she said, "Well, you know what? You seem like a sweet guy. You're welcome to come over anyway." And so he took her up on his offer. I guess he didn't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving, and so of course now the follow-up story, the one you sent me, was basically him going out there and she's become this big sensation on social media. Everyone's calling her everyone's grandmother kind of thing, and and I guess she's when he posted it, he took like a screenshot of his conversation with her, and he didn't think to block out her phone number, and so he posted on social media, not thinking that like you put it on Facebook or something like that, not thinking that this is going to go viral, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it does. It goes viral and it becomes this huge sensation. And of course, she ends up getting like 600 phone calls from people saying, "Hey, can I come over for Thanksgiving too?" This poor gal. But you know what? Maybe something's going to come out of it. That was kind of thing that they talked about. We need to do something with this. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there. When you get 600 people text you and say, "Hey, can I come to your house for Thanksgiving too?" That's a big sign that there's a need out there.
There's a need, and isn't it a shame that it doesn't wind up on the phone of somebody who could afford to say, "Yes, come on, we got plenty for everybody."
Yeah. I don't know who has plenty enough for 600 people, but they'd have to have a whole lot of land on top of a whole lot of food.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It would be neat to think that a community could come together somehow and go, okay, we've got 600 people that need to go somewhere for Thanksgiving. Maybe we can open up a recreation center and put a bunch of tables up and get some volunteers to come in. It would be kind of neat to think that maybe this is going to turn into something more than just the feel good story that it already is. This wonderful family that invited this young man in.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. When you think about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is that one holiday that everybody winds up eating a decent meal, whether you're homeless or no matter what's going on. All these kitchens and all these charities and all these things that are going on. I believe that Thanksgiving in the United States, everybody winds up eating a decent meal. Now, I don't know about unfortunately, the rest of the year, the rest of the 364 days, they're not that lucky. But on that one day, I think that they all pretty well get taken care of.
Yeah, I think so too. I know that they've got kitchens all over the place to do that, and it's good to know. But and I do know there are people out there who don't. And most of the time, it's by choice. I won't say most of the time, but I know a lot of the times the people that I know personally, who don't go somewhere or have people over, it's a choice that they make. I know, people even this Thanksgiving who decided to stay home and not go out, and that's okay. That's a decision. But it'd be nice to know that those people who genuinely want to connect with someone, have the ability to do so, and it's tough thinking, in a country of such abundance like we have here, that there are people who even on Thanksgiving Day have no idea where to go or who to spend time with, and it's, and that's tough, it's tough to think that, what's happened, to our society, to our culture, that we've replaced this the sense of community that a lot of, we call them primitive cultures have, with this idealism of materialism and collecting things and just, I don't know, we've separated ourselves from people so much that it's easy. I was talking to someone about the other day, where I live in California, I live right across the street from a church that has, I don't even know how many members, 30,000 members.
Holy cow.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's Mariners Church. They got, just on one service, you go up and there's, probably, I don't know how many thousand people at one service. It's huge. And, obviously not every single member shows up every Sunday, and they're obviously not all there for one service, but they do have tens of thousands of members. But I could walk into this church. I live right across the street from it. I could literally walk from my house or from my apartment. I live in an apartment complex, which means people are even more close together. Mm-hmm. I could walk from my apartment all the way to that church, which is only, take me 5-minute walk, go find a seat, sit down for the entire service, go get a cup of coffee, do whatever I want, come back home, and never even come across one person that I know personally, and it's crazy to think that in this world that we, we can be lost in a sea of people and be completely anonymous like that. And it's absolutely mind blowing.
Well, it's interesting that you would say that, because you think in terms of a church being a body of people that get to know each other, that have a lot in common, if nothing else in their faith. in the things that they believe in. But when you wind up with a church that large, the Crystal Cathedral used to be that way too. When you get into a church that is that large, the parishioners don't know each other. A handful of them do, but you know what? There are a handful of them that are part of 30,000 parishioners, and nobody knows anybody. I think that's a shame. The only thing they really have in common are their core beliefs.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it's just an interesting dynamic that we've created in this country, of bigger and better. Bigger is not better.
Yeah.
I mean, even, I've had this discussion even about things as simple as the automobile, the cars that people drive nowadays, my son and I drove out here in a 1990 Jeep Cherokee, and we had zero problems. In fact, I should say we had zero problems. We had one problem, but that was my own fault. I had previously, I don't know if you've ever worked on cars, but they have a thing inside the radiator system called a thermostat.
Yes.
And all it is, okay, so you know what a thermostat is.
I do.
For those who don't know, it's just a metal valve that opens and closes on its own depending on the temperature of the radiator fluid. Well, you can get different temperature ones, and since I was in California and I had some issues with my Jeep overheating in the past, I went ahead and bought one that opens up at 170 degrees as opposed to the one that normally is in there, which is 195 degrees. Well, that's great when you're in California, but when we were driving out here, there was a point in the middle of the night where it was 25 degrees outside, and because that thing was opening up at 170 degrees, it wasn't letting the radiator fluid get hot enough to where when I turned the heater on, the hot air was coming out at best warm, and it was trying to warm up air that was coming, in this vehicle, this not well insulated vehicle, and we were freezing inside of the Jeep. So and it's like an $8 piece. They're super cheap to replace. It takes like 10 minutes. So I've got to go get me a 195 degree one so that when I'm here during the winter, I can have a radiator that gets hot enough that I can use my heater in my Jeep. But other than that, the thing we had no mechanical problems at all. We drove, like I said, straight through. And, but you look at, people buy these cars nowadays, and, I literally just, talked to a friend recently who, has a BMW and is having problems with it, and it's something to do with the computer, and you can't touch it yourself.
I had a Mercedes for a long while, and the problem with the Mercedes is that Mercedes-Benz is very proud of every part of their Mercedes. If the radio aerial goes out, it's $1,000. You know what? If a light bulb goes out, it's $1,000. If it's just you got to have things done to it, even when it doesn't need to have it done, because the warranty is dependent upon that, and it's $1,000. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've actually got a friend who bought a C-Class Mercedes, which is like the lower end Mercedes, thinking, you know what, I can get this car for like $4,000 because it's older, it's used. Well, the transmission started having problems, and it's going to cost like $8,000 to fix the transmission. Yeah. But the thing is, it costs just as much to fix a C-Class as it does to fix an M-Class or whatever class you got. Yep. And it was cheaper to buy it, but the upkeep is just as expensive. And it's just crazy that we live in this world where people talk about how come it takes two people working in a home today to make it work? Well, because our toys are so much more expensive. Yeah. I mean, even the stuff our kids play with. When I was a kid, we didn't have toys. We went outside and we had sticks. Maybe we had lawn darts and frisbees and stuff that costs a few bucks. Nowadays, kids have. I don't even know what the new Xbox One something or another costs. And it's
how on earth did we ever survive without this stuff?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. But I tell you what, I wish we could go back to not having those things. It's nice, I tell you what, the nicest thing happened to me and my son yesterday, because I took Victor to the airport. He flew out yesterday. Mm-hmm. In the early evening, and so I was. We went out and had some lunch, and we had like 3 hours to kill, right? And I was like, "Well, Victor, what do you want to do, man? Do you want to? Where do you want to go? We got 3 hours. It's not long enough to really do anything super exciting. We probably couldn't even take in a movie, because of the time." And all of a sudden, I get a text from my buddy Craig, and he said, "Hey," he goes, "What time does Victor's flight leave?" And I said, "Well, I got to drop him off at the airport around 4:30, so we got about 3 hours to kill. I said, do you want us to stop by? I was thinking he was going to say, hey, let's, come on over, and maybe he had some free time, we could hang out or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you know what? He goes, I scheduled a massage for me and Holly, that's his girlfriend, and she doesn't want to go now. And it's at this place called Healing Waters. It's really, really nice, kind of medical day spa. Everything's all fancy schmancy.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, you know what? He goes, she doesn't want to go. And he goes, I'm busy at work. And he goes, that's already paid for. He goes, I got to pay for it whether I use it or not. He goes, you guys want to go get a massage? I'm like, yeah, I want to go get a massage.
On the way to the airport, right? Oh, yeah.
So I said, Victor, I just found out how we're going to kill the next 2 hours. And, I have no idea how I got on this story, but it was wonderful. It was just nice. Victor and I getting to spend some time together, and we went. And it's one of these places you go, and you go into the men's dressing room, and they give you a locker, and you've got these nice fluffy robes that you put on. And then you got a waiting room where there's like little dried fruits and nuts and little teas and stuff that you can have, and it was an absolutely wonderful little way to kill 2 hours.
What a nice surprise! What a really nice surprise!
Yeah, it was a really nice surprise. And it's just it's nice to have generous and gracious friends. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah. You know what? That sounds great. I'll bet you that's going to be a story that Victor's going to be talking about for a long time.
Right.
Now, Victor, being a chef, did he get involved in the Thanksgiving cooking?
He didn't. He just kind of, it's funny. Like, when I'm home, I do 95% of the cooking. He really, I don't know that, I don't know what his deal is. He just, I don't know that he's really into cooking as much as I think that he should be. But no, he didn't really. He just kind of hung out and socialized and just got to relax. And I figured I was going to ask him to help. He's on vacation, so I just figured let him chill and have a good time. He's got to go back to work today anyway, so. But it was fun. We had a really good time, and I didn't know where we were going with all this, other than talking about the connectedness here in our culture, and how.
Well, I think we're talking about that most of us have a great deal to be thankful for, because we're not that minority that winds up having to go to a church kitchen or a charitable kitchen to eat a decent meal once a year.
Yeah. It's funny, and I don't know why I have to this day not done it. I've always wanted to volunteer at one of those things, and when I was married, my ex, she just never wanted to do it. I have no idea.
My daughter Tiffany went. She went every single year. She'd go for Thanksgiving, and she'd also go for Christmas, and go to these kitchens to serve these people. And sometimes she'd be putting food on the plate. Sometimes she'd just be washing dishes.
I just need to make it. I just need to make it a point to do it next year, because it's something I've always wanted to do. And and there are people out there, like you said, that just are. But I tell you what, we I know we are all over the map on our talk today, but on our show. But there was. If this is going to be a long story, you only got 30 seconds. You want to do it when we come back from commercial? I do. It's going to take a lot more than 30 seconds.
Okay, so let's take a break. We'll come back, and then you can tell that story. How's that sound?
Awesome.
All right, we'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:21 p.m. Pacific time. If you happen to be listening to us in our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, get ready for this. It is 0 degrees right now. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it is 30 degrees and clear. So in either one of those cases, I think Sean and I are glad we're not in either one of those places. Well, that's not true. You know what? If you're there, you're lucky, I suppose. You just dress accordingly.
Yeah, just accordingly. What's the coldest temperature you've ever been in, Robert?
Coldest 30 below.
I got you beat on that one. I've been in 41 degrees below zero. That's ambient temperature. That's not wind chill. The wind chill was 102 below zero.
Yeah, well, mine was ambient also. I was in Alaska. It was 30 below without a wind chill. And it was so damn cold, I thought my face was going to fall off.
Oh, if no one's been in cold like that, you just can't fathom.
Oh, it hurt to breathe. It hurt to breathe.
It's painful. It hurts when it touches your skin. It hurts when you breathe. Yeah, you have to bundle up every square inch of your body. You put on one of those parkas with the big fuzzy hoods, and you close the hood up just enough to where you got a little hole where you can see through so you don't walk into stuff if you have to go outside. Oh, yeah. But that kind of cold is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, and you've got to be careful. You could actually freeze your lungs. It's just miserable.
It is. That pain. And then what it is why your lungs hurt so bad is because that air has zero moisture in it, and it's literally pulling all the moisture. When you breathe in, it just pulls all that. It pulls the moisture out of your lungs, and it dries your lungs out. Not only is it cold air, but it's also drying the inside of your lungs out at the same time. To breathe that stuff, it's horrible. Yeah, I mean, anyone who's never been in that, it's not something that I would say that you should experience, but if you want to have an experience of a lifetime, go somewhere where it's 20, 30, 40 below zero.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely an experience you're never going to forget. I'll tell you.
Yeah. I lived in North Dakota, and it was the coldest recorded temperature in North Dakota is 42 below. So I missed it by 1 degree. But yeah, we would go for days on end where it wouldn't get above zero for the high, and we go for weeks where it wouldn't get above 32 degrees. It would never get even above freezing for 3 weeks at a time, and it was just crazy. It was just unbelievably cold. I don't know how people who live there continue to live there the way I just don't get it. It's so inhospitable. It's a rough way to live. But the people that are there are really nice. I can tell you they're wonderful people. I've never met nicer people than I have than the ones in North Dakota. But boy, it's a tough life out there. That cold weather is just terrible. So anyway, so of course, we had Sally on the show, and she was talking about domestic
abuse.
Domestic abuse, and of course she works for the prison system, and I'm really not sure how much of this stuff I can share, but I'll keep it general. Obviously, I'm not going to be thrown out. Not that I know this young man's name anyway, so it doesn't matter. But even if I did, I wouldn't say it. But she's got a 19-year-old. This is kind of goes back to the whole loss of connectedness and how we've created this culture where we've lost our sense of community and connectedness with one another. This kid's on parole, so he's obviously been in a state prison system. He's 19 years old. He's autistic, and is he was not convicted of a sexual offense, but is on the sexual watch list or something like that because of discussions he's had, curiosities, interests that he has in that are outside of the norm, if you will, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem is the kid, he's 19 years old, he's autistic, so his social patterns are never going to, he behaves like, I think between like a 5 to 8 year old or something like that, or somewhere around there. Maybe it's basically he behaves like a child, mm-hmm. like a 7 or 8 year old, I think, something like that. And so he's out, and the question was, this was just before Thanksgiving, where do we put him? And of course, a friend ended up, because you can't put him, he's limited in certain places he can go. They have hotels that they put offenders in, but this kid is high risk. He could actually end up putting himself in a situation where he would get hurt, if not killed, or attacked somehow. And so you got to be careful putting him in a hotel. He ended up staying with a friend over Thanksgiving. But it's crazy to me, and this is what the comment that I made when I was talking to her about this, is I said, this is where society in general, but the church certainly has failed, because it used to be that this is where, we should come together as a community and go, we've got a guy here who has a very special need. This isn't some hardened criminal.
And it's a disease. And it's a disease. Yeah. And the thing is, here's the thing that I'm not understanding. He has not been adjudicated and found guilty of any crime, yet he's on the.
Well, he was found guilty of a crime, and I can't remember what the crime was. But it was not. He's not on a sexual offender list. But because of the conversations he's had with his therapists and psychologists, mm-hmm. they're going, this guy is on the watch list because he could become a perpetrator of a sexual offense.
Gotcha.
He's not committed to one, or at least not been caught anyway. Mm-hmm. But they're saying, look, this is a guy who left to his own accord could actually go down that path, and so we've got to be careful with him because of the things that he's talked about. His interests, his sexual interests, lie outside of society's norms.
Gotcha.
I'll just put it that way. And
but so do yours.
Everybody's. Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. I guarantee you. It's like, you know, whenever someone says, "God, I wish I knew what you were thinking right now," I'm like, "No, you don't. Trust me. You don't want to be inside this head." You know, there's a lot of things. You know, I think that most people go through periods of time, you know, whether they last for days or months or years or whatever, where they think things that if they acted upon those things, they'd end up in prison. And I've certainly had thoughts that went through my brain that would send me to prison if I acted upon them. But
as a young kid, we had, you know, as young kids, we had some weird dreams.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and if we were to vocalize those dreams, if we were to tell anybody, we would be committed, for God's sakes.
Oh yeah. I guarantee you, if you put me in front of especially maybe not right now, but certainly times in my life that if you put me in front of, you know, a psychologist, you know, who was especially someone in the social system, you know, the penal system or whatever, you know, that they said, man, this guy, I'm telling you, he's saying some pretty crazy stuff. Yeah. You know, but I think a lot of people think things, but the problem is this kid is autistic.
Yeah, he's going to be affected by it, right?
Yeah, he's gonna vocalize his thoughts, even if he wouldn't act on them. Even if he knows it's wrong, he'll say, "Well, yeah, those are things that are interesting to me," you know. And of course, they're going, "You're not supposed to like this kind of behavior." And he goes, "Well, I'm interested." Yeah, you know. And so it's interesting to me that, you know, what do you do with someone like that who apparently the family is not able to take care of him? I don't know why, you know, and you also got to raise the question if he's already been in prison and out of prison as a person with autism, there's probably a problem with the family to start with. So probably the family's not the best.
Let me interrupt you for a second, because I'm not understanding something. You're not saying that he was in prison because of the autism, are you? I mean, isn't that a disease where if as a result of that disease you commit a crime?
Yeah, autism is basically what it does is it's something that's typically onset. It's actually a neurological disorder that can be brought on. It can actually be brought on in the womb as early as that. Most people who are autistic, they get something triggers it, whether it's a vaccination or some other environmental.
But Sean, if you commit a crime, as a result of autism, you're not incarcerated in prison. You might be put into a hospital, right?
Yeah, this kid was put in prison, and that was the question I had, was why was this guy in prison? Why was he not? You know, if you're considered mentally not competent, yeah. You know, you're put in a mental institution. You're put in a home that takes care of people who can't. And anyone who knows anything at all about autism will tell you that a person with autism, their social skills are so far gone that they can't make those rational decisions like you and I can. They'll act upon things. You know, they'll get mad at their parents, and they'll hit even as an adult. You know, they'll act out violently, and because they act like children. And like she said, you know, this guy behaves like someone who's 6, 7, 8 years old. You know, well, you can't put a 6 or 7 or 8 year old in prison with men and expect a positive outcome. And you know, I guess that's really, you know, and it's funny because I thought a lot about this guy over Thanksgiving, because it was literally Wednesday where she was like, okay, what do I do with this guy? Where do I put him? You know, like how do we get him out into the world? You know, we obviously guys like that, it's what happens a lot is they end up doing something that puts them back in prison, you know, and now they're incarcerated. But my question is, how is it that someone who suffers from a condition that we know impairs your mental ability to make decisions ever put in a federal penitentiary system? You know, it boggles my mind, and we become so disconnected as a society that, you know, there's this massive disconnect between our judicial system, our the incarceration programs, the incarceration system, and the programs for after that. Like, why is there not more community involvement? Why is there not a place to put a guy like this?
Yeah.
It should be this. Okay, there should be like almost like a flow chart. Okay, so the guy have this? Yes, no. Okay, where do you have a flow chart? Boom, this is where you put him. There's already an organization. How is it that, like I was talking about before, we live in a country of massive abundance? No one should have Thanksgiving alone. Why is it that there's a guy who's 19 years old and is not mentally capable of really maintaining himself as an adult? Why is there not a place for him to go, with his type of thought patterns? And it blows my mind that our society has gotten to a point where we're so disconnected that you can get someone who just so easily falls through the cracks, even though there are many people out there trying to find a solution for this young man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just sad. Whatever happened to being humanitarian? Whatever happened to the humanity of human beings when they recognize and understand that this person has a mental incapacity, and yet they have them suffer in a case like that? This makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And if I had the means to take care of this guy, take him in on my own, I would do it. I obviously don't have a place of my own out here.
Yeah.
But if I had the means where you say, hey, I'd say, tell the guy to come live with me. That's fine. I could deal with him. I understand this type of situation. It's not a problem. To me, it wouldn't affect my life at all. I'd be happy to help.
Well, but you know what? Isn't that what Christianity, what these churches are supposed to do? Aren't they supposed to come together as a community and provide a place where these young people can be with people that are like them, that they can assimilate together and maybe help each other as a result of that?
Yeah, and even though talking about Christianity, the Bible, there's a verse in there that says the religion that God considers good is caring for the widows and the orphans. And of course, when they say widows and orphans back 2,000 years ago, they're not just talking specifically someone who literally is the wife of a guy who died or the children. What they mean is people who just, because the widows back then were not able to care for themselves. They didn't have jobs. They didn't have education. And so what the whole point of that is that the religion that God himself considers to be a good religion is a religion of caring for those who are not able to care for themselves. And that's where I made the comment that, the church fails in this respect, that there should be some sort of program that is connected with what's going on in our penitentiary system, that when someone gets out who's a special case like this, there needs to be a place that they can go where someone can take care of them. I've got a friend who is he teaches kids how to ride horses and do roping and of course these other life skills and stuff, but he's on a ranch down in Texas and they take these at-risk kids, these young men, I guess they shouldn't call them kids, but they're kind of kids, but these young men, and I think actually in their mid to late teens all the way up into, I want to say 20 or something like that, and they take them out to this ranch out in Texas, and they teach them all these life skills, and it would be awesome if there was a place like that where we could, for every single need that we have, because it's a pretty unique, the guy's been in prison, I don't know what his crime was, but obviously he went to prison for it, he's got this special need, he's autistic, he's kind of got some quirky ways of looking at sexuality, but a lot of that comes from being a 19-year-old, body and a 7-year-old brain, that's just going to happen. But, as unique as that sounds, there's probably, tens of thousands of guys like him in this country. And,
I think the thing is, we have to recognize that we do have people that are oppressed with these kinds of diseases and uncontrollable from a psychological standpoint for themselves, that we as a society need to be able to place them in a place where they can be cared for, and be healthy and happy and safe. Now, having said that, my friend, guess what time it is?
It's time for us to wait another 47 hours until we get to do this again.
Yes, and any idea what we may or may not be talking about, or is it a crapshoot?
It's going to be a crapshoot at this point. We'll figure it out between now and then. But this was a great. I know we were kind of all over the place today, but this was a fun chat. It was nice getting caught up with you, and I look forward to doing it again on Thursday.
Well, I've really missed it. I'm looking forward to talking to you on Thursday too. In the meantime, stay happy, stay safe, make everybody around you happy. And I have one feeling, and that is there is somebody around you who's very happy right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, buddy.
Robert, thanks again.
All right, you take care. Now, the rest of you folks, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and, interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 65 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 43 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Madrid, Spain, well, it's 48 degrees with scattered clouds. And if you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 47 degrees. Also with some scattered clouds. But right now, I'll tell you what, I want to talk to you about the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is 3 good reasons to admit that you failed. As a leader, admitting failure is critical. Many people try to shrug off missteps as things that happen to everyone. Although doing so might seem harmless, there are many good reasons why you should admit you've messed up. And here are 3 of them. First of all, to connect with your employees. While it's true that employees won't want to discuss their own failures, they are more likely to connect with leaders who admit to theirs. Even if the specific failure isn't applicable to staff, simply talking about it helps you connect. And the second item is to learn. Failure is only positive when you learn something important from it and make the necessary adjustments. If you don't do this, you cannot learn from outside perspectives, and you're probably more likely to stay in denial. And then finally, to tolerate mistakes in others. As much as leaders openly say that failure must happen for innovation to be present, many get upset at staff who fail to struggle. That attitude shuts up staff, closes down experimentation, and obliterates creativity. Set an example that failure is okay. You know what? One failure is one step closer to success. Well, time for us to talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. It's all about a positive mental attitude. You hear me talk about it all the time. You are in total control of your life. You decide if you're going to be happy or sad, rich or poor, a success or a failure. If the people around you are going to be happy that they are. You do that every morning when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you say, wow, this is going to be a fantastic, profitable, prudent day, a good day for me and everybody around me. Well, the secret today is you don't have to fight to get rid of disease. Just the simple process of letting go of negative thoughts will allow your natural state of health to emerge within you, and your body will heal itself. Well, I can tell you somebody who would agree with that. Our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. He believes in that positive mental attitude and the cures that the body can do with itself. And you know what? You know what today is? Sure you do. I know what today is. You know what today is. Everybody knows what today is. It's Tuesday, November the 29th. And it's somebody's birthday. Yep, you know what? We're gonna talk about the birthdays. We've got some great ones for you today, so we might as well just get right to them. You know, this is a person that was born in 1898 and died in 1963. A novelist, academic, a medievalist, literary critic, an essayist, a lay theologian, and Christian apologist. He is also known for his fiction, especially the Screw Tape Letters, the Chronicles of Narnia, and the Space Trilogy. Happy birthday, C.S. Lewis. And finally, there was a person born in 1976. An actress, Ferris, has appeared in the Scary Movie series of films. In 2008, she had a starring role in The House Bunny, for which she earned the MTV Movie Awards nomination. Happy birthday, Anna Ferris. Well, you know what? You ever wonder what was going on today in history? Well, hang on to your hat, sit down in your chair, get ready for this, because I'm going to tell you. On November the 29th, 1877, Thomas Edison demonstrates his phonograph for the very first time. And in 1915, fire destroys most of the buildings on Santa Catalina Island in California. Wow. And that's something. And then in 1934, the Chicago Bears defeat the Detroit Lions 19-16 in the very first nationally broadcast game. Yeah, my son-in-law wasn't alive then, but he sure would have liked it. And then finally, in 1944, the first surgery on a human to correct blue baby syndrome is performed by Alfred Blaylock and Vivian Thomas. If you haven't seen that movie, by the way, wow. It's just unbelievable. I recommend it. Well, our quote for today comes from Thornton Wilder, and Thornton says, "Life is an unbroken succession of false situations." No kidding. Absolutely. Well, it's time for us to give you those interesting but useless facts. We've got a couple of minutes. We'll give you a few of these things to ponder on a little bit. Some will make you smile. Some will make you wonder. In this case, the now extinct ancestor of the horse, Eophis, had a short neck, a pug muzzle, and stood no higher than a medium-sized dog. That's kind of interesting, huh? Yeah. How about this? Did you know that Hershey's Kisses are called that because the machine that makes them looks like it's kissing the conveyor? Yeah. Yeah, well, go figure. Nobody's going to change that name. I can guarantee you that. And did you know that the blueprints for the Eiffel Tower covered more than 14,000 square feet of drafting paper? Interesting when you look at it. Think about it. How about this one? Did you know that if humans had the metabolism of a hummingbird, they would have to intake 155,000 calories a day? You know what? If you're just a regular normal human being and you're taking in 2,000 calories a day, you're probably putting on weight. Give that some thought. How about this? You know, in ancient Greece, the courtesans wore sandals with nails studded into the sole so that their footprints would leave the message, "Follow me." Oh, there's a scary thought. How about this? Unless you have a doctor's note, it is illegal to buy ice cream after 6 p.m. in Newark, New Jersey. Go figure. Somebody's got to tell Chris Christie about that. He's either got a doctor on retainer or he's breaking the law because it looks like he's eating a lot of ice cream. Let me leave you with this one. Mike Greenwell of the Boston Red Sox holds the major league record for the most RBIs that accounted for all of his team's runs. In 1996, he batted in 9 runs in a game against the Seattle Mariners. Yep, that be it. Well, you know what? Don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And today's story, Vicky. Yeah, you don't want to miss it. You're going to want to hear it. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at, 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 65 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Sydney, Australia, 73 degrees, mostly cloudy. In Auckland, New Zealand, it is 64 degrees and overcast. And if you're lucky enough to be in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 54 degrees and it's clear. And now it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Yes, sir. You know what? This is just a well-received segment of our show. And you know what? The American Broadcasting Company calls Paul Harvey the biggest voice in America. He is Paul Harvey, and each week, millions of listeners, viewers, and readers were awaiting his unraveling of the mysteries of events in the lives of people past and present. Heard on over 1,400 radio stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in over 300 newspapers. The rest of the story has for years been exploring the byways and highways of history with revelations that are intriguing, amusing, and surprising. In today's story, Vicky. Yeah, let's get right to it. You know what? Vicky wanted a room of her own. She was a big girl now, she argued, but she did not feel like one, not with Mommy sleeping in the same room. It seemed as though there was always a fuss about whether the light should be lit and why she should wear these slippers or that night dress, and especially when she should be put to bed. And while she was at it, Vicky complained there was another thing or two. Must Mommy always be holding her hand? Everywhere that Vicky went, it seemed that there was Mommy, or some grown-up of whom Mommy approved, holding her hand, making her feel like a baby. And one thing more. Why was Vicky never allowed to visit with anyone alone? Was Mommy afraid that one of Vicky's friends might steal her away? She had no privacy, no time to herself, especially when she wanted it the most, at night, while she slept. Vicky wanted a room of her own. Of course, all of Vicky's protestations were silent ones. Long ago, she had learned that arguing with Mommy was not only futile, but an invitation to abomination. So Vicky kept her complaints to herself, resigned to the feeling that she would always be smothered by Mother. Hers was a valid complaint. Vicky really was a big girl. She was 18 years old. Still, everywhere she went, there was Mother, clutching at her, holding her hand. Friends, confidants, other young girls with whom she might share her secret hopes and apprehensions out of the question. Long ago, Mother had decided that for Vicky to be left alone with anyone for a solitary activity to go unsupervised would be improper. For Vicky, the most difficult part of all was not having a room of her own. 18 years old and still sleeping in a room with her mother, still at the mercy of when she would put out the light, when she would have Vicky go to sleep. Those years of mother smothering and endangered rebellion. As a child, Vicky was given to outbursts of rage, shrieking, stamping tantrums. Once, in a fit of frustration, Vicky threw a pair of sharp scissors at her governess. Older now, although no less under surveillance and no less frustrated by it, Vicky had calmed down. Quietly, she resolved that someday, somehow, she would have that for which she had hoped the longest, her own room. A place to retire quietly each night and perhaps each day for cherished moments of solitude. 3.5 weeks after her 18th birthday, Vicky got her wish. Her uncle died, and then she got a room of her own. Forever after, her demonstrative, overprotective mother would remain at a comfortable distance. It was a joy mixed with remorse because, as she knew, the price of her privacy coincided with the death of an uncle. But it was then that she got a room of her own, and incidentally, a throne. Her uncle died, and Vicky, at 18, became Queen Victoria. And now you know the rest of the story. Isn't that amazing? Well, tomorrow's story, you're not going to want to miss it. It's the lost years of Liu Shikun. Liu Shikun. Absolutely. Now, I want to remind you that on tomorrow's show, I'm going to be talking to you about your business and how to make an unwise tax move with it. And then I'm also going to talk about the oddities in the news. We'll do that. And then our own Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, is going to be here. He'll be talking about news and wireless technology, new stuff all the time. He's got a plethora of that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, as I was mentioning to you before, with the rest of the story. Please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. You know what? And tell them to get our app. It's absolutely free. Just go to any of your app stores, search Robert Cardoza Live. It's right there. It's absolutely free. Download it. You can listen to us 24/7 if we're broadcasting live like we are now. You'll be able to talk to us at the same time or chat with us. And you know what? Your friends will be glad that you did that. You'll be glad that you did it. And I guarantee you, I'd appreciate it, and I'd be glad that you did it too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.